Hi, it is time for another reading vlog. I haven't done one in a little bit, but this one's theme is kind of scaring me because I feel like with the past reading vlogs, a couple of ones that I did, there were themes that I was generally really excited for. I was including books that I was excited to read. These ones, even though I'm excited for them, I'm also a little bit scared. And you might have seen from the title or the thumbnail, but today's theme is to read 3 books that were recommended to me. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. These all come from different places of recommendation, so let's just talk about that. The first book I'm going to be reading for this vlog is Caraval by Sabrina Carpenter. This is one of the oldest books on my physical TBR, as I bought it in February 2018. It's way long ago that I want to admit. And I originally picked this up because it was very hyped on BookTube. I saw a lot of hype for it when it came out, people were reading it, but then also I started hearing mixed things and I got scared and I didn't read it. But recently my local bookstore got new owners and a new person started working there, and I went to buy books and I bought Gilded by Mr. Maya, which is somewhere up there. And the person working asked like, oh, did you read Lunar Chronicles as well? And I said yes, loved them. It's still one of my favorite series. It's one that originally got me into reading. And she was like, if you love the Lunar Chronicles, you should read Caraval by Stephanie Garber. You know, I've only seen this woman once. I still trust her with my life. So let's see how this will go. And then the next book is something, this is the one I'm the most scared of because this one wasn't curated to me at all. But I told the story in my last quarterly book haul when I received this book. My mom works in a bakery. She comes across a lot of people, and one of her like regular customers, I guess, feel weird to say like a regular for a bakery, but oh well, he is very much into reading and they've like talked about loving reading, and especially my mom having a daughter that loves reading and loves reading in English. And the guy was just like, you know what, I'm gonna bring you a book that I think she will love. It's The Gunslinger by Stephen King. I also have the second book for the same guy, but for this video I'll only be reading the first one. And I'm gonna be honest, The Dark Tower is something that has intrigued me for a while, but again is something that I've heard very mixed things on, so I am a bit scared of this one, especially because, you know, this one comes from a place, if you love this, you'll love this one as well. This is just like a random book recommendation. Like, I love this book, you should read it. So I'm really hoping I will like this. I've read 2 Stephen Kings before, one I really liked, one I didn't, so he's hit or miss for me. But neither were fantasy, because I think this is only like purely fantasy series. But I'll be reading it, so yeah. And then lastly, this one is a bit more random, but it feels more personalized than this one because it comes from TikTok, from my For You page. A couple of months ago when I was very deep into book talk, I'm more on like the music movie side of TikTok right now. It used to be like very deep in book talk, and 2 authors that were constantly showing up on my For You page were Rachel Lippincott and Chloe Gone. So I picked Chloe Gaughan's book, These Violin Delights, because when it comes to Rachel Lippincott, the book that I saw the most on my For You page is the one that she's coming out with in 2022, even though I own her 2021 release as well because of it. I thought that this one was more fair because it is one that is actually out, that I saw a lot of my For You page because of the author videos, but also because I've seen just a lot of people recommending this book in general on Book Talk and BookTube. So I am having high hopes for this one, although who knows. This one is the only one that I've heard only good things about. These other 2 I have heard mixed things about, but they're all 3 are fantasies, and I have been having a complicated relationship with fantasy recently, so I'm really hoping this will go okay. We're gonna figure this out together. I'm kind of debating on which one of these to start first. This one is definitely going in the middle because it's the shortest, but I'm kind of debating between these 2, but I'll let you know once I start one of them, and also I'll give you a synopsis then, but wish me luck. Hi, I am here with a vlog update from my living room. Hi, I am sick, so if I look like a mess or my thoughts are all over the place, I apologize. But I started These Violin Delights. I decided to go with this one because it's the biggest one, and I thought it would be easier to get it over with, of course not predicting that I would get sick, so here we are. But well, this book follows Juliet and Roma. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, in case you couldn't tell from those names. and it takes place in 1920s Shanghai, and they both are like the heir to these gangs that are like huge rivals and like fighting over who gets to like rule the city, I guess. And then one day, like, these people are starting to like die in weird, mysterious ways, and it seems to be like a contagious like disease kind of, in a way, except not really. It's really hard to explain because where I am, they don't know what it is yet, and I feel like that's the whole story of the book. Even though Juliet and Wilma hate each other because they used to date, but he actually betrayed her, and now they absolutely despise each other, and they are gonna have to like work together despite that to try and figure out what is happening to these people that are dying and what's going on to kind of like, you know, save the city, because what else are the gangs gonna fight over, you know? I don't know, that was a shit explanation, I'm sorry, but I'm 162 pages in and I feel like we're still like learning a whole lot. Like, we definitely have the story set up already, like we're not still setting up the story, that's not what I mean, but I feel like because so many of the things about this plot are gonna be like a mystery that needs to be unfolded, although this is not like a mystery book, like we need to figure out what this illness is, where it came from, what's going on, all of that shit. So I also don't know a whole lot yet, and like I said, sick brain, not compute, but I am really quite enjoying this book though, because it is high fantasy and it's historical high fantasy, and also it takes place in Shanghai, which is just a place I'm not really familiar with, especially not its history, so it's not like I can easily like breeze through this because I already know everything. But I still don't really have a hard time reading this book with my sick brain, which I appreciate. I'm having like, I can very easily grasp what's going on. I also really like, because at first I thought this was just gonna be told through Juliet's perspective, and then we got Roma's perspective. It's like, oh, so this is like a dual perspective thing, and then we just keep getting like all different kinds of perspectives from like people that are close to them as well, and I really like in that way the story is told. Like, it isn't like each chapter has like this is told through this person's perspective. It just kind of like switches in paragraphs. I don't know, you know, it's just like third person, you know, and I really like how it switches between all of these different characters and what they're doing to like kind of figure all of this out, which I really like. I really like Juliet as a main character. I feel like Roma, I don't know as well, because we, even though this is like third person omniscient, I think it's called in English, correct me if I'm wrong, I do feel like we still follow Juliet the most out of all of the characters. I feel like I understand who she is as a person better than all of the other characters, even though like I still really like all of the other characters. Juliet is a badass main character and I really love following her. I'm excited to keep reading, so I'll update you once I'm a little bit more of the way through. Okay, so not a vlog update for these Violin Delights. I'm on page 300, so I've made quite the dent. I kind of still feel the same way. I still feel more attached to like Juliet's side of the story than Roma's. Just, I don't know why, but because I feel like at this point the like division between the two is about 50-50, but I care more about what's happening in Juliet's part, in Juliet's parts, I guess. I don't really know why, but yeah, I like her a lot. I really love her. I think she's such a badass main character, and I love like the discussions that come around like how she's viewed, definitely just because she's a girl, by these gangs. You know, she has a harder time like finding loyalty from other people, like being seen as powerful, even though like everyone is scared of her. They still like don't really see her as someone who can reign over them just because she's a girl. And I really like the discussions that she has around that, and also because like she was mainly raised like in the West, that's just what her family is into, and she also has like this conflict of like where she belongs, like in Shanghai or in the US, like what part of her is like the most prevalent, because she feels like she can be both. And I really like the discussion as well, even though those are all like very small parts in this book, but I still really like those discussions ways as well. I am also really liking the way that the story is unfolding. I love the way that Roma and Juliet are working together. You can tell that there used to be something there, but they also have trust issues with each other, and I really like how the dynamic chooses, but also just the way the story's playing out, like reveals are being made that I really like. And I'm very curious to see where else this is gonna go, because I don't really have an idea of where it could go, but I'm excited to read like the last chunk of this book and find out. And even though I say that I connect to Juliet's story more than romance, doesn't mean that I don't like her story either. I really like what's going on there as well. I really like his friends a lot. I think they are interesting. I still am not as invested in it as I would like to, and I don't know if part of that is just like my sick brain not computing things, or that's just me just feeling a bit distant from this book, which, you know, is fine. I feel like if this is gonna continue that the way that it has been, I feel like there's gonna be probably like a 4-star, which is still very good, but it could be a 5-star, which is like that tiny bit more invested in, because I do really like this book a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish it. The next time you'll see me is when I finish it, but I doubt that I'll finish it today, so who knows. Hi, it's a couple of days later and I finished these Violin Delights, so let's just quickly talk about it. I feel like I have said most of my thoughts on this book already. Not much has changed. My main problem with it still is that I just wasn't as engaged in this book as I would like to. I felt very distant from it, and I found myself zoning out a couple of times during this book, but that's why I docked a star. Also, I found that I wasn't as on board with the romance as I would have wanted to, and maybe in the sequel things will get better, but right now I just, even though I love the dynamic between Roma and Juliet, I don't feel the chemistry as much. So yeah, 45 stars because of those reasons is why I docked a star. But I still really enjoyed reading this book. I think the setting was very interesting. I really liked also like the gangster stuff. I'm not familiar with any gang stuff at all, but I really liked how it was used in this book. And again, with this backdrop, and there's like an author's note at the end where Chloe Gone explains that maybe like the gangs and the like madness was made up for this book, but there's still like a lot of real history in it, and I thought like the combination between those two was really well done. Although I don't really know how much is real history or not, but I think just the way everything was put together was really interesting. I really like the characters, because like Chloe Gone is pretty brutal towards the ending. She doesn't spare lives, and I generally was just like, no, not that person, because I generally really like these characters. I also generally really despise some of these characters, and the ending did take me by surprise. There were a lot of like plot twists towards the end that I didn't see coming at all, and my brain exploded. So I'm very excited to get to the sequel. It's a 4 out of 5 stars for me right now, and yeah, that's a good recommendation from TikTok, I think. So next up, I'll be reading The Gunslinger by Oliver Bidgew once I've started that. Okay, so I'm here with a service announcement. As you can tell, it's been a long time since I last talked to you. That's all because of this book, The Dark Tower, book 1, The Gunslinger. I started it. I got about like 50 pages in, less. What am I saying? Okay, it got 26 pages in. That's not a lot, but my brain is just like not computing this book right now, because I feel like it's going to be like a slower book, and it's just at this moment in time it's not working for me, so I'm putting it down. I generally like had to force myself to like pick it up at all this week, so that's not working. And so I spent a little bit looking at my TBR, seeing like what else did I pick up because of like recommendations, and I figured out this one. It's You and Me on Vacation, which is the UK title for People with Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. And Emily Henry, just like in general, I have seen very much recommended on BookTube and BookTok. But People with Me on Vacation has recently been popping up on my For You page again. I don't know why, but it has. So I am like very intrigued to get into this, and also it is a romance book, so I'm hoping it will go by quicker, and I'm also like break up the two fantasies in this video, so I really hope that goes well. And a bonus, I can give you already a synopsis with this because I've heard about this so much. So basically we follow Poppy and Alex, who like go on vacation together like every single year, and like they're best friends, and then something happens and they kind of have a falling out, and then our Poppy has to like go on this trip for work, I think, and then she asks Alex to go along with her to kind of like talk out what happened, I guess, and like, but end to their friendship officially, I guess. I don't know what the exact purpose is, and it's a romance. So yeah, I've heard amazing things about this, especially a lot of rave reviews of Alex, so I am really excited to get to this, and hopefully it will mesh better with me than this book will. Hi, it's the next day, and I got 200 pages into You and Me on Vacation, or People and Me on Vacation, whatever you want to call it. I wasn't expecting to get this far into it, but I was on a reading wall yesterday, and I did get, it's a little bit over halfway through, and I'm really loving this, which again I wasn't expecting. This one is being told, you have like the this summer storyline where basically the present day, and then we're also like every so often we're getting these chapters. There's a prologue, it's 5 summers ago, but basically once you get out of the prologue, it starts with like when they first met, and then like every time we like get closer to like the big climax, I guess. We haven't gotten there yet. I think the last one I read is 6 summers ago, and I feel like the climax is 2 summers ago, so I'm getting there. So you're getting like all these different summers that they spent together, like the little snapshots out of it. And I think that I really like the way that's done, because I feel like it very much like sets up this friendship really well, and also like when it's time for like more emotional moments in the present storyline around like their friendship that is now like dissolved, they really hit, because you know how strong this friendship was back in the day, and I really like that. I really like this more than if there was just like random flashbacks just throughout, and I feel like this just gives a sense of like how their friendship grew over time, and like different like struggles they have been through in their friendship. And I'm really liking this a lot. Like a lot. I really like these characters. I understand the love for Alex that I've seen on TikTok. I do. But I also really love Poppy. I think she's a very interesting character as well. Because Poppy's kind of in this place where she's kind of stuck in life, where everything that like back like in this timeline she was in college, all of the things she dreamt of then she has now accomplished. She's kind of just like stuck, and she's in this place where it's like, I should be happy because I'm doing everything I've ever dreamed of, but like I also feel empty because I've accomplished everything already that I wanted to accomplish. And I really like that. I feel like that's a storyline I haven't seen often. I feel like often it's more like a storyline of, when it's something like this, it's more like looking back and realizing you haven't done anything you've dreamed of, and it's just kind of like, am I still happy in life or not? But this one doesn't have that. It generally is like, I've accomplished everything, like, and what now? And I really like that discussion around that. I think that's very interesting, and yeah, I'm really loving this, and I can't wait for this, because there are some tension moments, you know, but I can't wait for this to like actually get into the romance, because I'm shipping it real bad. So yeah, I have some stuff to do today, but I'm still hoping I can maybe finish it today. We'll see, because I'm really loving it. So yeah, but I'll update you when I have. So yeah, bye. Yo, it's the next day, so I thought I'd give you a quick update, because I did finish People Meet on Vacation, or You and Me on Vacation, whatever you want to call it. I personally prefer People Meet on Vacation, because I feel like I like it more as a reference, so it's something that is in this book. So that's why I prefer People Meet on Vacation, also because it is the most used title. But You and Me on Vacation is also fine. But I ended up giving this 5 stars, which shouldn't be a surprise to you after yesterday, because I was already loving this and I was just halfway through. I just got so much better. So yes, 2 for 2 for TikTok right now, a big win. But I really love this. Like I said before, I really like Poppy as our main character. We only follow her perspective in this book, and I loved the journey that she went through. I also really love Alex, because even though we don't get his perspective, I feel like I do have like a very great sense of who he is, and just like also his thought process, just by the way these two communicate. And I love him so much as well, and I really love their romance. It's so well done, and it's kind of like building up in like 2 timelines, because we have the past timeline and it's building up in that, and then we also have the current timeline where it's like building up as well. And I really like how this book is done with like the past and present timelines, because I feel like they like parallel each other so well, and it's so well done. And yeah, I really love this. And yeah, that means I only have Caraval to read next, and I'm actually very nervous to read it, but I'm also quite excited for it. So I'll update you once I've started it. Hi, middle of the night, but I'm on page 246 of Caraval, which is a very big chunk of the way through. I'm like over halfway through. Whoops, I meant to update you earlier, but I kind of got into it and then just didn't stop. Now I need to go to sleep, so I need to stop. But Caraval, this follows a girl named Scarlett who for the past like 7 years she has been writing letters to Caraval, to Legend, who is the host of Caraval, to kind of like ask for Caraval to come to her town. Caraval is kind of this big magical event that comes to like a different place each year, and it's a game, you know, it's hosted by Legend, and it's this very legendary thing. And she has heard stories of her grandmother who actually went to Caraval like a bunch of years ago when she was young, and ever since then like she has just been wanting to go to Caraval together with her sister. And yeah, so she's been writing letters for 7 years, and then all of a sudden at the start of the book she gets an answer back and it's like, hey, we're not traveling this year, but we're on this island and it's invite only. Here is an invitation for you, your sister, and your fiance, because she has ended an arranged marriage and she's supposed to get married at like the end of the week. So, you know, it's a big deal. So yeah, she and her sister end up going to Caraval, and stuff happens. And yeah, the reason this is one of the oldest books on my TBR, and the reason why I've been putting it off for so long is because I've heard so many mixed reviews on this book. I know a lot of people I follow absolutely love this, and a lot of people I follow absolutely hate this. It's kind of been getting mixed reviews since like it was first published, which is when I bought this. So I've been very nervous to read it. And then of course I like picked it up on this video ID, and because I recently got that recommendation, and I'm loving it. I wasn't expecting to like this as much, but I'm really into it. I really love the magic of this world. It's very weird, and it's like done in a way where it's kind of like, is a real magic or not, or just like messing with us, and I really like that. And I feel like it's very unique. It isn't something I have seen before, and I really think this world is super interesting, and just for that alone I can just like read like 20 books, I think, because the world truly is like absolutely amazingly interested. And on top of that, I actually like Scarlett as a main character. That's like the biggest critique I've heard of this book, even from people who do like this book, is that Scarlett is an annoying main character. I really like her, and she's not the conventional YA main character. She's very much like a product of her environment, which is kind of like historical, and she has an abusive father, and like there are a lot of ideals instilled in her brain that are caused by those things, where she is like overprotective and like very careful. And I understand how that could be annoying because it's very different from no think by a protagonist. But I really like it. I think it's very refreshing, and I really like it. There's also romance I really like it. Just like, I mean, nothing has happened really, but just like the tension they have with each other, I really love. But went like the halfway mark, a little bit before that, there was like a massive twist, which is why I'm way over the halfway mark, even though I planned to reach the halfway mark. And it has kind of like taken this book in like a different direction a little bit. Not really as in it kind of feels like a different book, because some books do that and I don't like that, but it has taken us in a very interesting direction. I'm very excited to keep reading. Is this gonna be like a 3 for 3, like all books are a success? I really hope so, because I don't want this to go on. I'm really liking it so far, so I really would hate it if like this last 150 pages would just go like terribly long. So yeah, I'll update you once I finish this book. So it is 2 days later, and I'm here to tell you I finished Caraval and I give it 5 stars. This was amazing. So my thoughts haven't really changed that much from like my halfway through update, although it was a little bit of halfway through, but I still absolutely love this. I really love Scarlett as my character, which I think is strange because, like I said, the main thing I've heard about this book is that Scarlett is an insufferable main character. I don't get it. I love it. There's also romance in here that I just adored. I love Caraval as like a thing. I think the whole magic is interesting, and how it like works and like the different pieces into play about it is so interesting, and I really like that. And then like The last 100 pages or so were filled with twist after twist after twist after twist. I was such a wild ride. I absolutely loved it. I saw none of it coming. It was just fantastic. And yeah, I was obsessed with this. And yeah, those were all the 3 other recommendations that I read in this video. I would say it's a success because even though I put the Gunslinger down, I didn't put it down because I hated it. I was just like, I'm not really in the mindset for it right now, and I was having difficulties reading it because of it. I loved all 3 of these books. Like, I already bought the sequel for this book because I need to read it. But it's a 4-star and 2 5 stars, which I think is like extremely well, especially because like these were just like books that popped up on my For You page a lot, and this one is like one that I actually got a recommendation for. So it could have turned out terrible, but it didn't, and I'm proud of myself. And yeah, let me know in the section below if you read any books or you thought of them, as well as some of the books that you would maybe recommend to me based on my thoughts on these books. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Good.
Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated? I should have played it cool.